Holy schnitzel, guys, this is absolutely amazing. So I'm thinking I've got a quiet week this week. I'm thinking, oh come on, bikes need to start coming in. I get a message of a guy called Ben, and Ben's got a bike that he wants bleeding, so his reverb needs bleeding, his brake needs bleeding. He turns up, this guy was the same guy that bought my very first full suspension off me 2 years ago, and this is it. The CUBESTEREO 150 HPA aluminium. This was my favourite bike at all time. It's named Scully on the basis that on Sheepskull track at Forest of Dean I almost landed in a tree because I went so fast off a kicker, and I named it Scully. Obviously I'm bleeding the reverb. It's a bit cold this time of year. I did explain to him the reverbs do get a bit slow this time of year because when they get cold it takes a while for the fluid to warm up, hydraulics and all that. And his left brake is feeling a little bit tough there, but I'll bleed that. It feels okay, I'll bleed it anyway. The pikes have never been serviced, so I'm going to service the pikes, and the shock has never been done. But I'm really excited to actually. And I said, if you ever sell this bike, let me know first and I'll buy it back. Now I bought this bike, I swapped it for my Santa Cruz Chameleon. The Chameleon was a fantastic bike, but this is my first ever full suspension bike. I did everything on this bike, cleanse, kimber, bike parks, everything. I think I did Bike Park Wales the first time on this bike. I sold this bike and I sold my Chroma Group down. And the two bikes I've always regretted selling. And I sold both of those bikes because I wanted to buy a brand new full suspension bike, which was a Trek Remedy 8. Now I always remember the feeling of taking the Trek Remedy 8 to Clent and going off the back of stones for the first time. I always thought, well, this feels a little bit disappointing because my Cube felt loads better. And I had to do loads of modifications. I had to put riser bars and little bits and pieces to make the Trek as good as this bike. I should have just kept this bike and saved an absolute fortune. But obviously I've got some nice bikes now, so it's win-win. So let's get on with these services then. Okay, so sorry guys, I forgot to actually film the bleed or the service of the fork. I've done that. Obviously you can see it's been done by the RockShox butter that's around the stanchions. I've bled the brake. The brake is feeling a ton better now. These were always fantastic brakes, to be honest. Guidars are hit and miss, but I think these ones, I remember, being really strong. We do need a new chain. I've measured the chain. The chain is very stretched, so there might be a little bit of bedding in to be done. The chainring doesn't look too bad, to be honest, and the cassette also doesn't look too bad, but Ben was saying he hasn't ridden it that much since I had it last, and I always kept stuff in really good condition. Next we're going to do the reverb, see if we can speed that up a little bit. Okay, progress report. I've moved the reverb dropper plunger over this side so it was easier to pull through, pull the post out. Here's a tip: masking tape where the seat post goes in so you know exactly where it's going to go into. Cable tie it to the tyre so it stays put, because this is the bleed port that I need to gain entry to. Same with this one. Also I've got .5 syringes and mineral oil syringes, so we're using the dedicated reverb oil, which is a mineral oil. Very important not to use the same syringes as what I've done with the .5 one in the Guidar brakes. So I'm going to bleed the reverb now and see if we can get this sped up. Setup is key. So now we're all set up, we're going to press this plunger down and see if there's any air that comes out of here. There we go. Going to pass it through the other way.
That's because of an accident. Still got 2 lanes out and heavy traffic on the M3 stem.
Nosy lady. Okay, where are you going? Hello. You're on YouTube, Oliver? Look at my old bike, Ali. Look at my old bike. So much air.
To the beat of my heart.
Yeah, there was a stack of air. In the line was fine. So the line coming from the seat all the way to the plunger. But when you do these RockShox plungers, you have to take the speed all the way off. And then you need to keep pumping and pulling and pushing and pulling and repressurising it until all the bubbles are out. It's actually took me about 10 minutes to get every bit of air out of that plunger. So Ben wanted this seat to be fast. Now this is now on the fast setting. Pretty fast. Shock. Let's do the shock next. And then we're all done. So just wanted to show you this. Normally, this bike is 66 degrees head angle. But I went to a company when I had the bike and I have some offset bushings ordered. You can see that. Rather than being in the centre, it's further down on the bottom. Knocks half a degree off your head angle. Very, very clever. And to be honest, it was about a couple of mil difference on the lower in the bottom bracket. It was brilliant. So I got it in my vice, just checking the PSI, it's just a tad under 150. So I've taken these seals out. The seal looks so good, so I'm going to give this a big clean around here. I'm going to re-lubricate it and put it all back together. We are done. We've done these fantastic pike forks, float DPS, reverb post, and a front brake bleed. I've tested it, I've taken it outside, I've tested it. Now I want to cry because I don't want to give the bike back. I would actually swap. I know it's silly because there's a lot more money involved in my stump jumper. I'd probably swap my stump jumper for this bike. This bike is that good. It's the CUBESTEREO 27.5 SL and it's the top spec with the X01. It had 11-speed drive chain, pike fork which is so plush. Just an amazing bike. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I'm going to thumbs down this video because I want to keep this bike. And we'll see you next time.